Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'll be chairing this meeting this evening, and before we begin, I'd just like to cover a few brief housekeeping points. As a reminder, our meetings are governed by our formal rules known as standing orders, which are in place to ensure meetings run fairly and efficiently. These are available on our website or via the clerk. This includes expectations for the conduct of everyone present, councillors and members of the public alike. We'll be hearing from our borough and county councillors this evening, and if you have any questions for them, I kindly ask that you contact them directly outside of the meeting or attend one of their local surgeries rather than raising those matters here tonight. Public participation session. So members of the public are able to express a view or ask a question on relevant matters on the agenda and are welcome to stay and observe the rest of the meeting, but may not speak or interrupt the meeting following the public participation session. Each speaker to have a maximum of 3 minutes to address the council. And it should be noted that questions raised during public participation do not necessarily require a response at the meeting and will not prompt a debate. A response may be given in writing or orally at a later date as appropriate. Please address all comments through myself, the chair, and only one person may speak at a time. And I'll be grateful if you can raise your hand to indicate you wish to speak. And if you're able to, I kindly ask that you stand when speaking. As chair of the meeting, I will always encourage respectful and constructive participation. I'm sure everyone here will continue to behave appropriately, but I must make clear that obstructive, offensive or improper behaviour will not be tolerated. Please note that I'm recording the meeting tonight via audio, and I'll be grateful if you can switch off any digital devices to silent so that we can minimise interruptions. Thank you. Okay, so we have item number 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Apologies we received from Councillor Dorden. He had a prior commitment before being elected to the council.
Okay, thank you. Declaration of interests by members. So to note any declarations of members' interest in respect of items on this agenda.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. All members have submitted a dispensation request in relation to item 11 being members of the Royal British Legion.
Okay.
See if you wanted to.
Do you want to vote on those? Or? Yeah.
You can do that now.
Okay. Do you want me to read them or do you want to?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. So, as Ryan suggested, we all have a dispensation regarding item 11. So take a vote on granting that dispensation. We can all vote, including on our own. So the dispensation for Ian Brown, all those in favour of granting that dispensation? I shall do the same. So William Parrott has done the same. All those in favour of granting William? Thank you. And then my own. So Jason Butcher, all those in favour of granting me a dispensation? Thank you.
For agenda item 12, I wish to declare a disclosable pecuniary interest. I have a clear conflict of interest with regard to this matter. To maintain the integrity of the proceedings and in accordance with the Code of Conduct, I will leave the room for the duration of this item and will not take part in any discussion or vote.
Thank you.
No, nothing else from you.
No, and nothing else from me. Okay, number 3 is minutes. So this is to confirm that the minutes of the council meeting held on 16th of February 2026 are a true and accurate record of the meeting, which were attached to the agenda when it was sent out. Does anyone have any comments to make? No comments? First time?
Yeah, just propose in second of the minutes, please.
Oh, second. So I'll propose the minutes. Do we have a seconder? And we'll all vote in those in favour of approving them? Yeah, we'd have to vote actually. Right, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Number 4 is Chairman's report. So this is to receive a report from myself. So report on 16th of March 26. So since the last meeting, the Council has received the resignation of Councillor Andrew Jackson. I'd like to say it is a real shame to see him leave the Council, and I would like to thank him for the time and effort he has given in serving the parish. On behalf of the Council, I wish him well for the future. Since the last meeting as well, the Council has also received notification of a judicial review claim relating to the Council's resolution of 17th of November 2025 concerning the Wood Lane land. The matter was notified to the Council's insurers. They have confirmed that the policy does not provide cover in circumstances where a claim is brought by a person who is themselves part of the insured body. The clerk has therefore contacted the Council's solicitors and initial advice has been received. Due to the current position regarding Council availability and potential interests, it is unlikely that the Council will be able to debate the agenda item relating to this matter this evening. The Council will therefore need to consider how the matter should be addressed procedurally at a future meeting. The Council will continue to take appropriate legal advice and act in accordance with its statutory duties and governance responsibilities. Okay. So item number 5 is representations from the public. So does anyone here have anything they'd like to say or ask? I will actually just, Dave, if you don't mind, I will go to Bridget Biddell. She did ask beforehand. So Bridget, please.
Chair, thank you. I'm hoping tonight to suggest a possible way forward for the Parish Council to consider to solve the muddle we, that is the parish, find ourselves in regarding the proposed judicial review of the decision to sell the land at Wood Lane. The reason for speaking out is because I feel genuinely concerned for the parish with the possibility of an expensive judicial review looming. No one can know at this stage whether this application for a judicial review will go anywhere, but even if it was to, it is not going to provide a solution to the problem the parish council faces. What, however, is certain is that solicitors, barristers and judges' fees on an hourly basis are huge, and this judicial review is likely to run into tens of thousands of pounds, costing the claimant will, and all the parish, money that could be spent on something worthwhile and beneficial to the parish. The parish's budget for next year is showing an increase of 257%, I believe. It's an increase on last year. It is huge. It includes a provisional sum of £20,000 for the judicial review, only slightly less than last year's entire budget. It will, of course, have to be paid for by us, the residents of the parish, with a significantly higher precept. Is this really a sensible ask? At this stage, I should tell you that Hampton Estate will not be playing a part in this judicial review, despite the claimant citing Hampton Estate as an interested party. The estate will be disengaging completely from this judicial review. It seems that there is unhappiness about the decision made to sell the small triangle of land at Wood Lane. The reason the parish wishes to sell is to save costs on future management. Could there therefore not be a simple solution where the parish council retains the land but has no annual management cost? Now, this is my idea as a director of Hampton Estate and as a resident of the village, and in an effort to try and help solve this ridiculous muddle. Why don't we return the Wood Lane triangle of land to the status quo that existed before, prior to all this unhappiness and distrust? Put simply, the land remains in the ownership of the parish council, thus the parish council retaining future control. It is not sold or transferred away. This solves the first part of the equation. The second is the cost of management. Could we maintain the status quo that has existed for the last 96 years? That is, it continues to be occupied by Hampton Estate or their graziers. The estate, as you probably know, manages just under 2,000 acres of land and is recognised by DEFRA, Natural England, Surrey Wildlife Trust, Guildford Borough Council and many others for its good and exemplary agricultural management. This small piece of land of 0.02 hectares, which joins Hampton's 0.5 hectares, needs managing, and we are willing to do this and take on the liability if and only if we are able to have the support and positivity from neighbours and the village. We may even, with some pruning and coppicing of the shrubs and trees behind, be able to return to grazing the land with cattle, as we did in previous years, when Manor Farm, that's the craft centre, was a dairy farm, and the surrounding land was used for the cows. This is a serious offer, and I very much hope the Parish Council, the village of Seale Sands, and the claimant for the judicial review take note of this pragmatic solution. This matter has upset the village for far too long, and we now need to move forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Bridget. David, please.
Can I just support the sentiment of everything that Bridget has just said? This never has such a small piece of land caused so much unhappiness to so many people. And I don't obviously include myself in that. I include the people who live on Wood Lane, who, as I said last time, are losing sleep over it. So the pragmatic proposal that Bridget makes is one which I hope very much the Council will consider urgently, bearing in mind it's now approaching 7 weeks since the letter of full claim was sent to the Council. And I very much hope that it will also find favour with the claimants in the judicial review as, if not the end, at least a means to the end, and the starting point for discussion that ends the present confusion and unhappiness.
Thank you, David. Simon?
Chairman, I support everything that David has said. I am very much in favour of a pragmatic and negotiated solution. There will be details that will need to be thrashed out, but if I may say so with all respect to Bridget, the point she made in relation to costs was, if anything, and I don't say this in any spirit of criticism, but was, if anything, fairly faint. The concept of judicial review has been bandied about, but a judicial review is not popping down to the Guildford County Court to talk to the circuit judge for 2 hours. It is a major piece of High Court litigation, and it would be utterly tragic, if we spent those costs, which would be far, far more than the figure that we've been discussing. Other than that, and as I say, to support the idea that we must try and thrash this out consensually, there's nothing further I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Anybody else like to say? Rosemary.
Yeah, Chair, I'd just like to actually just refer to a couple of other items on the agenda. I thank and welcome Will and our new councillors and their expertise and business skills they can bring. Councillor Parent is a fellow chartered accountant. I am fully in support of item 10, the idea that we have an adoption of parish matters. I think that's our opportunity for us to be heard, for you to talk to us, for actually to build better bridges again. So I think it would be a really good item to include. I'm also keen to hear in item 15 the reasons for the precept, and I think that has now been preempted by what Bridget has said, so to some extent. So that's basically what I want to say.
Thank you, Rosemary. Anybody else? Okay, good. Thank you. We'll move on. We have heard from our Surrey County Councillor, Matt Furness, and Sally Barker, and I do believe they're expecting to come this evening, but they are attending Tongham first. So are we all right to leave that until they get here?
Yeah, we can always come back.
If we defer those two items. So if we move on to item 8, which is list of payments.
Yeah,
Right.
Chairman. There's two from January and then recent from February. Recent January one because there was a typo that was picked up last month. So the Secretary to the Council's current figure that's showing at the end of February. So I've got two of the same one here.
I've got one.
Is showing in the account it's 4,743.38 and in the reserve account it's 27,063.63. With the payments that have been made, service charge to Lloyd's, Castle Water bill, Horran Garden Services for the maintenance carried out in January, energy usage £30 SSE, and then the clerk's salary payments.
Has everyone seen them
Yes.
tonight?
Yes, just briefly. I have a couple of points that I would like to raise on these. Do you have any invoices we can have a look at?
No.
Well, I think we should. Yeah, because that's in line with financial regulation 6.7.
Will, can you speak up? There's
Sorry,
a lot
yeah.
of noise from the back.
Sorry, financial regulation 6.7, our own financial regulation says that these should be supported by invoices. And I'm afraid I'm not prepared to sit here and sign off a page of numbers. You know, we need the evidence that these have actually been incurred. You know, this is public money, and we need the evidence that these have been incurred. Yeah, and also financial.
I can bring them up if you like.
That's fine. It'd be good if you had them printed off and sent round to us beforehand, because otherwise it'll take forever. won't it?
Sent round as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That.
We can't hear.
Sorry.
Maybe you turn around and fix it.
Yeah. And additionally, financial regulation 6.7, which I think we used to do, meant that the payments were issued to the public at the meeting or were given to the public prior to the meeting, and indeed were in the minutes afterwards, and that seems to have stopped. I'm afraid, once again, it's public money, it's their money, and we should be showing, yes, what we're spending the money on. And once again, that's in accordance with financial regulation 6.7.
Oh yeah, I can. I'll definitely include them I can put them in the minutes for this meeting.
Sorry.
Good.
I'll include the list of payments in the minutes for this meeting and all meetings going forward as well. And I'll put them in the agenda as well, so residents can see them before the meeting. That's not a problem. And as Councillor Parrott says, I'll also bring copies of the invoices as well. I can send them out to council so you can have a full view.
The other thing, I'd just be intrigued as to how these things are actually paid. You know, presumably Lloyd's, Castle Water and Lloyd's, Castle Water and the energy supply are direct debits?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, or standing orders. I think we have to approve those every 2 years, yes, and approve that we're happy with them. And
Yeah, usually.
when was that last done?
I'll have to check, but usually it's done at the annual meeting of the council, which will be May. I don't know if it was done at the annual meeting last year, but usually, that's when I've done it before.
If you could check, because once again, I think it's something that we should, literally against each of these items, we should have the date, so that we know when it's due for, updating, and we make sure we do it. Yeah, and then the whole regulation there is to avoid, just like you and I can do it, having a standing order that just carries on and on after, we actually no longer have the need. Yeah, and we need to have that in there. The clerk's salary, that's fine, that's a contractual obligation. To the extent that Ryan ever does overtime for us, I believe that needs to be authorised before it can be paid. Yeah, but his monthly normal payment is fine. The payment to Horran Garden Services, has that already been paid?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because it's work that's already been carried out.
That's fine, but normally in business a piece of work is carried out, you receive the invoice, and then it's our job to authorise it.
Yes, I can see if we can get the timetables to work. It's just, yeah, at the moment could be quite a bit of a delay for the maintenance guy to get the money. I can definitely work with him and see if there's a way we can sort of marry up a bit more.
Do we have a contract with him?
Yeah, like I say, I'll speak to him and see if it's something we can
And
get.
if it's in his contract that he has payment terms of 14 days or something, that's fine. But if it doesn't, then we shouldn't be paying it until we've authorised it. Once again, in accordance with our financial regs. Yeah. Anything else I wanted to say there? Yeah. When did we last do a bank reconciliation?
Bank balances are shown on the list of payments.
Yeah, that's not a bank reconciliation.
It's okay. It's effectively the same numbers, but yeah, I can produce something different for the next meeting if you would like a separate document.
Yeah. Well, once again, someone independent, yes, should be checking those against the bank statement. Yeah, and someone who's not involved in the finances. And once again, it's a key control, isn't it? Because at the moment, you're just telling me to believe those are in the bank, and how do I know they're in the bank? Yeah.
Well, because myself and Ian know they're in the bank.
That's fine. Yes, but if you like, you're involved in the finance anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand how we can prove they're in the bank other than bringing up the bank statement online
and that's
here
fine.
and now.
And that's fine.
Is that what you're asking that we should
really.
do?
Because
I'm just trying to clarify how
it's fine.
we can do that.
And it should be someone who's not involved in the the day-to-day finances. As either Jan or myself, or another, because that's important. Yeah, it's just control. It's a third party, isn't it? And when we authorise the actual payment, do we have two people who have to authorise that?
the amounts that are here, the bank doesn't have to. But again, I can look if it's a part of financial regulation, then that's fine.
I think it does matter myself.
Okay.
The rules don't say anything about numbers. I think our rules are ridiculous. And as I said to you before, I think at times we need to downgrade our rules because our rules at the moment say it should be you and our two other people should authorise it. Yeah, and that's what our rules say. And I don't think we're doing it. I think for a small council like us, that's over the top, and we need to adjust the regulations. But until we do that, we're not obeying our own rules, which is crazy. Yeah. And I sent a whole load of these points to you by email and received no reply. And this is important stuff.
Yeah, I've been quite busy.
That's fine, yeah. Good. What else? Yes. Yeah, do we have a debit card for the council account?
There's a debit card, no.
No. So when you bought things from the DFIB supplies, is that you, Jason, on your...
No, I used that. I raised a purchase order with them and paid bank to bank after
Paid
that.
bank to bank?
Yeah.
Okay, so we never have a debit card?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. That's fine. And if we can sort those points out, I'm quite happy to help. Yes.
Absolutely, but then you'd also be involved in the day-to-day finances, and then there'd be somebody else.
But then we could get someone like Jan. Yeah.
Yeah, but then what happens if Jan misses a meeting?
Yeah.
And then we can't do it.
But that's why some of our rules are ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why we need to adjust them. Yeah. Good.
Ian?
Oh, no, I have no comments on the payments.
I would say we have raised some of these points before. I've said probably 3 times in the past about reconciliations and that being done by members that don't have access to the bank.
Yeah.
We always used to have a pack of invoices that come with every meeting with a list of payments, which actually is a simple way of checking that they are there. I know that over the last probably 2 years or more, 2.5 years, Ian has been on the case of the bank account and sorting out who's on it, who's not on it, and the like, and obviously understanding all of the money that's going in and out. So I personally don't have any issue at the moment, but I'm with you on the fact that the rules need changing. Every May, most of our policies are up for re-adoption, and that's really the time that I would suggest we plan for these. So if you've got ideas on changing them, Ian and myself have been through these documents. I mean, it take a long time to go through, but we've tried to go through and make them as obvious as we can. The financial regulations is the one that is more problematic for the council that has been to decipher, because they are quite oblique in cases. But yeah, they can be made so that they can be easier to deal with. Because if we've got issues like Ryan says with marrying up responsibilities to payments, and I will say I'm very concerned about our maintenance chap. I'm afraid we need to keep on top of his payments, because I would not like to be looking for another maintenance man right now. But that's something we can discuss after. So we do need to make sure that the payments, the bills are being checked, and Ian has pulled up issues in the past, and they're checked before they're paid. So
That's good.
I would say that, you know, there's no issue that we are not on top of finances.
I think we need to sort of, we need to make sure we are obeying our financial regulations and also be seen to be obeying them.
Good. Me too.
Yeah. Good. I don't envy you, Ian, for fighting through banks and changing people who have to sign things off. It's a
They
nightmare.
don't do it very quickly, is all I can say.
No, they don't.
We were committed last year to making changes to our processes to make sure, and this is still in line. I would say as well, at the January meeting when we discussed the budget, Ryan did say there in public that he was looking to make various changes already for April the 1st.
Good.
So I'd like to think that
Good.
let's hold Ryan to that.
Yeah. And Ryan, are you on that? Are you hoping to bring those forward at our next meeting in April?
As I said since I started, since I first met you, in the new financial year.
Because we need to get that in place for the new financial year, so everything's up and running for the new financial year, and we end up with a good record of what we spent and a good budget versus actual comparison. Yes, on a rolling basis. So we can actually see what we spent, what we budgeted, and we're in a better position to make a better budget for next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Something I've been trying to do for many years, but time has never been on my side for it. There's always been other priorities.
And I'm happy to spend some time, and indeed I spent some time, and I put forward a motion which was rejected, on how we could improve, because Ryan wants to do it, put forward his own thing, and that's fine. My motion that was rejected, it should be in recorded, and it should be in the minutes as well, I think, because that's in accordance with our standing order.
I have recorded it.
Good. Yeah, you could make sure it is. I'd be grateful. And if you present something in April, absolutely fine. Yeah, and I'll be delighted, because we want to get it up and running for the new financial year. No.
Okay. Anything else on that one?
No, other than that.
No.
So do we need to vote on both of these?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So with regards to the payments made for 29th of December to 30th of January 26, are all those in favour of approving those payments?
I'll have to abstain, I'm afraid.
All those in favour of approving?
Yep.
Thank you. All those not in favour? Those abstaining? Thank you. Do you want me to sign?
It does seem very odd to me that last month we didn't approve them because there was a date wrong, and this month we are approving them even though you can't produce invoices. But that's life. Carry on.
Excellent.
Okay. Payments for 31st of January 26 to the 28th of February 26. All those in favour of approving these payments? All those against? And all those abstaining? So carried. Thank you.
And Joe?
So, item number 9 is meeting calendar. So this is following a review of the council's meeting day, which was item number 12 on February's meeting. The management of the Barley Mow have indicated that they will endeavour to organise future events so that they do not clash with the parish council meeting dates. Therefore, councillors are asked to confirm the timetable of full council meetings for the 26-27 municipal year as follows. So this is where we do have April on there. So we've got listed meetings in April, May, June, July, September, October, November, January, February and March. So I know that, Ryan, you did engage with the Barley Mow with regards to the change in the date, and you conducted a poll of how we can do it.
I think it's very clear that it was going to be very difficult to find a date that worked for all councillors. And yeah, I was really grateful that the Barley Mow, I think that's probably the best way forward, to be honest. I didn't think there isn't really another way I could imagine it all working to suit everyone.
Yeah, okay. So just as we start, I'll propose this motion. Do we have a seconder?
Chairman, just before we do that, can the...
No, I'm not going to. No, just proposing the motion so we can discuss it.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll propose it. Do we have a seconder to progress it? Thank you. So, yes. Are there any amendments that we wish to make?
Just one, sorry.
Carry.
Just one point. We don't normally have a meeting in April, do we?
No.
No.
Okay. And are we going to this April?
Well, that was
That was
possibly
what I was going to raise as well.
Yeah.
So snap, yeah. Traditionally we haven't, or historically we haven't, because occasionally it will clash with Easter. And an extra meeting is additional cost to the parish.
Yeah.
For generating agendas and doing the minutes, etc. I can understand if we think we need one, then that's fine. But if we've done without one for many years, I don't. It may be that we need it gives us gap for an extraordinary meeting as well, should we need such a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to amend?
I would suggest amend or propose amending the list to exclude 20th of April for this municipal year.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that? Will second. So all those in favour of excluding April? All those in favour? Thank you.
Just a point. Does that mean that our next one will be the 18th of May, and that'll be in the Sands?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because at the moment we're relying on Lynn's goodwill, because I don't think we ever booked this place, and she just knows when we're coming.
I'll send through a list of all the.
Yeah, good. That'd be good. Just
I would
to
have
get-
presumed they were booked for the year, were they not?
Are they booked?
It's going to change now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got the 18th of May, the 20th of July, the 19th of October, the 18th of January,
No.
the 15th of
18th
March.
of June, 15th of June.
Yeah, and we put the
Yeah.
October.
Okay,
the
yeah.
other, we've
Let
got,
Ryan
we
confirm
haven't
it,
got
I
those
think.
dates booked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've made the amendment. So the fact that we had discussed about changing the day of the meeting, which was unworkable, and we now have these dates proposed in the diary. So is there anything you would like to say about either of those issues?
I think this is the best way forward.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, I'm happy with that.
Okay, so all those in favour of, no, actually, sorry, I'd need if I propose,
That's already done, actually.
it's already done?
Yeah.
Do I need to
Yeah, just vote on the.
just vote on the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we just need to vote on the resolution. So all those in favour of
Yeah.
this resolution? Yeah, thank you. Okay, item number 10, which is introduction of standing agenda item on parish matters. So this is to consider the introduction of a standing agenda item entitled Parish Matters. This item would provide residents with an opportunity to bring matters of local interest or concern to the attention of councillors where those matters are not already included on the agenda. So I know that Ryan had included supporting documents on this agenda item. Did everyone receive those?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do we have a proposer? So, William, and any seconder? Ian? Do we need to vote now? Or
No,
just propose it, yeah.
just
Yeah, okay. Will, would you like to
so
introduce it?
This was my motion. I think it's fairly self-explanatory, and I'm pleased that it's been generally well received. The motion will enhance engagement with parishioners, providing a clearly available conduit by which they can raise concerns and see that those concerns will be considered, and if supported and agreed, further action. I think it's important we make it easier for our parishioners to raise things that concern them. If we adopt this motion, we'll be seen to be more open and transparent, which can only be a good thing. I think the 3-minute rule and the Chair's discretion to manage speaking time, and the fact that we can't necessarily be expected to answer points raised immediately, affords us sufficient protection from the curved balls that may come our way. And hence, that's why I would like this motion to go forward.
Okay. Do we have any amendments?
Yes, from the documentation I received, it's not clear that what the content or the scope of any comments or questions raised by parishioners. I think we should restrict it to matters that are within the remit of the parish council rather than maybe the borough council, for example. Otherwise, we can't deal with it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, and if someone raised something that we think is a borough council issue, we simply point them in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
We always use a signpost, so yeah.
Yes, that's right. And I wouldn't want to sort of say to someone, "Oh, you can't say that." You know, we're a signpost, aren't we? And we point them in the right direction. But you're quite right. And I think very often, this is something you've said, Simon, isn't it? Very often we're a signposting body. We have limited powers, but we can point people in the right direction. Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to vote on Ian's motion. So I think we're deciding that it's probably unnecessary to make that.
What we can do in the agenda item on the actual agenda, we can say to bring matters that are, like you say, relevant to the parish council or something like that. We can word it that way, actually in the agenda. So
Yeah.
we can probably pick up on that.
I'm sure things will still come up that we
Yeah.
say, and then we can signpost. Yeah.
But we want to make the forum welcoming and encourage people to air their worries. Whether we can help or not is another matter. But hopefully we might be able to point them in the right direction.
Okay. So all those in favour of making that amendment? Thank you. I would like. We discussed when we were putting this around. I thought that there would be a time limit, and there's no time limit on the.
Yes, I mentioned that. But
Yeah.
I think the chair would retain discretion, so it's in your hands, Jason.
Yeah, I think. Well,
it might be nice to have a time limit.
It might not be in my hands at some point. So
Yeah.
I think for my amendment, I would suggest is that the same with public participation, that we limit it to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Or put that in there.
Yeah.
And then it would still be the chair's discretion to extend that if necessary. But I think having a 15-minute, because we are limited by time.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to exceed 3 hours.
No, I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
I think that's what we'd said earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In emails, yeah.
So all those in favour of that amendment? Thank you. So as it stands then, the resolution would be that the council resolves to introduce a standing agenda item titled Parish Matters on future Parish Council agendas to allow residents to bring matters not otherwise included on the agenda to the attention of councillors,
Within the remit of the parish council.
Yeah, within the remit of the parish council.
Yeah.
And with a time limit of 15 minutes.
15 minutes per person.
And 3 minutes per person.
Yeah, I think that's already in here, isn't it? Yeah, allow residents to speak for up to 3 minutes each. So exactly the same as our public participation session.
It doesn't say that on the resolution though.
No, but it's in the blurb, but we could put it in the resolution.
But is this yeah, I think we need it in the resolution, Will. So
Okay.
we'd need to amend that to say 3 minutes per person, 15 minutes total. Is that okay?
Happy with that?
So all those in favour of that amendment? Yeah. Thank you. So yes, the resolution would include then 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes total time on matters that are relevant to parish council statutory duties and the like.
Yeah.
So Will's proposes. So all those in favour of this resolution? Thank you. Okay, so number 11 is the dedication ceremony at Seale War Memorial. This is to consider the request from Seale Sands Royal British Legion to hold a dedication ceremony for the addition of 2 names to the Seale War Memorial, including agreement of arrangements, public access and required risk assessment / traffic management measures. And there was an accompanying supporting paper for this. Has everyone received that?
Yes.
Yeah. So this was a motion that I brought because I'd been asked by a committee member at the Seale Sands Royal British Legion branch, and this is because we have an ongoing commitment to provide a new plaque to the War Memorial that has now received listed building consent for the addition of 2 names, one from the First World War, one from the Second World War. And although the plaque is still yet to be installed, we are awaiting the stonemason to do that. The British Legion would like to ask us if we are happy for a dedication ceremony to proceed. When I initially spoke to them, I did suggest that it was something that we would that I'd want to bring to the council for us to consider. I suggested that there may be it would depend on the size of their party as to what requirements that may put on if it needs any traffic management or road closures, etc. I gave them a few options to consider and thoughts to consider on risk assessment and health and safety, and that is why the branch committee member came back to me, and hence why their ideal route is to go down or preference is for a small gathering of invited guests, and this really is to allow them to do it without any additional cost to anyone with road closures and the like. We'd still have to, just consider a risk assessment of some sort, just to make sure everything is okay. But that was what they were considering. I added to the motion that it depends whether we consider that whilst they are, I'm sure in the there's no issue with them having a small private ceremony, It would depend whether we would be obliged to advertise it to the wider community, hence why I put that in. So obviously I'm proposing this motion for it to continue for discussion. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Ian? Okay. Okay. So any questions, queries?
And I'm of course very, very supportive of the idea, but can the RBL not organise this themselves? Do we have to be involved?
They will organise it,
Okay.
except for if I would imagine if it gets to beyond, from a risk assessment point of view, which I would hope that Ryan would do as it progresses.
Yeah.
If the number of people that are attending is deemed to be more than could be placed within the area that we have within the memorial and the garden, then it may be that the risk assessment judges it to require other health and safety considerations.
Yeah, I'm just worried that Ryan's got enough on his plate, and if we don't need to be involved, then do we need to be involved?
Well, the council is custodian of the war memorial.
Yeah.
That is something that means we have a responsibility.
Yeah.
It's also on our asset register. It's on our insurance details. I mean, at the very least, I would imagine that we'd have to tell the insurers.
Yeah.
We'd also probably have to tell the county council highways.
And sort of in line with that point, I'm just concerned that if it does incur us sort of time and cost, if it's I think it's in line with the comments you made. Can it really be a private meeting, a private gathering? Because if it's been supported by ourselves, then I think other people who want to go should be allowed to go, shouldn't they?
It could be there. Could there not be like a sort of a dedication ceremony, a small one at the memorial, but then like on the same day, somewhere else that's a bit safer? You could have like a different event or something like that. There might be other ways that it can work.
The other thing I thought is could we not wait until Remembrance Day and do it then?
It does depend on when the plaque is completed.
Yeah.
The plaque,
Yeah.
the stars may align, and it does.
Correct.
November might be a good.
These poor souls have waited many years anyway. Could they not wait until November? Just an idea. No.
That was an idea
No.
that I already posed to them. That was one of the things that I suggested as a consideration. Did you just want to say something on that point?
November.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think the supporting paper is all about, in principle, looking at talking to RBL branch and working out what is the best route with this. What we feel. Well, I think it's prudent to cover the parish council because I believe we have responsibilities to the war memorial. So there is no judgment on costs yet of what they might be. The whole point would be to root out what is the best way forward that they're happy with, and then we bring it back to council to approve.
Yeah.
So this isn't about. I think if you read it, it's only talking about costs. It's not.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah. Any of the discussions that I've had with them so far have always been based on it will be up to council to decide.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Any amendments?
No, not for me.
Could we put anything in with about maybe considering delaying it until November, or
I can do that as part of this. I don't think it would need a consent recommendation.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Normally we can only just change wording on amendments rather than, fine, okay, so all those in favour of this motion? Thank you. Okay, so number 12 is judicial review claim relating to Wood Lane. Would you like to say anything on that?
Yeah, just
Shall I run away?
no, as you would have to, it would leave the meeting in quorum, so we won't be able to discuss this item.
Okay.
So yeah, we would move on to item 13, summer show use of Sands Recreation Ground.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so number 13 then, so this is to consider and if approved, grant permission for the Summer Show Committee to use the Sands Recreation Ground for the Summer Show on Saturday 4th of July 2026 and agree other relevant actions. So the paper does suggest actually that they would use it from the 2nd to the 5th of July. So I'm proposing this motion. Do I have a seconder? Yeah, well, thank you. Any amendments?
Can I just confirm the dates? Because the 5th is the Sunday. Will they finish with this?
That's the dates they've given us.
Okay.
Yeah, that was their dates.
That's fine.
Yeah.
If I could just clarify one point, you talk about finalising the hire arrangements. Am I right in assuming that they get it for free?
Well, generally, yes. Yes, free of charge.
Okay, and that'll continue, yeah?
Well, that's up to us to decide.
Okay.
If you want to consider charging them. No. Yeah. No. It's always been a free of charge event. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's the usual thing. We've tightened up on this in the last few years in that we asked them to make sure they provide their insurance documents and risk assessments, and they've been very good at that in the last few years. So we just need to keep on top of it and make sure that we are covered from that perspective. Would you like to say anything, anyone?
No, no issues with any of the points.
It's probably because I'm still the new boy and I'm still learning, but I think we've already approved the Sands Rec for use on the 4th of May by the Barley Mow Car Club, but we didn't have a motion for that.
No,
I was wondering why we need a motion for this. What's the difference?
Well, I think this is the Barley Mow can be hired under our hire agreement. You said car club. I thought it was an event for the pub. That's how it was.
Yeah, they're using it for car parking.
Car parking.
Yeah.
Oh right, I think it's older cars.
Whether they want to park on the rec.
Is the event actually on the rec then?
I think, well, unless I've got the wrong end of the stick.
Right. Well, I wasn't aware of that. So hire agreements cover for what I'm sure we would normally regard as, normal hire of our facilities, and that has included in the past the Barley Mow hiring it for additional parking for events that they've held at the pub. I personally wasn't aware of what they use it for.
There's various people with their expensive cars don't want to be packed into the pub car park.
Right.
I was thinking that there'll be more space.
I think, that's where we need to firm up. So something like the summer show is clearly a much bigger event than additional car parking, and I believe we have stated that on the charges document that we agreed last year.
Right.
That any event other than hiring the football pitch, hiring the pavilion for what you would normally assume, that can be covered and dealt with under delegated authority by the clerk, whereas any larger events would be brought to council, hence why this is being brought.
Yeah, and so the one on the 4th of May should probably be brought as well, shouldn't it?
I'll check with the.
I think we
I
need to.
haven't seen the hire agreement.
Yeah.
It was really basic. I think that's why it was units car parking. So yeah, I
Right.
don't think
Yeah.
definitely not needed to bring to council. But I'll check with.
Can we-
I'll
can we
with the
check?
applicant. Yeah, yeah, still
Yeah.
easy for.
Yeah.
Okay. So with regards to this motion, are we happy to proceed with it?
Yes.
Yeah. So all those in favour, please. Thank you. Okay, item 14 is compliance report. So this is FOI requests and complaints. To consider a request for the clerk to provide a summary report on outstanding FOI requests and formal complaints received since 1st of October 2025. So I believe Ryan included a document to everybody. Have we all got that?
Yes.
Yeah. Do I have a proposer for this motion? Will, a seconder? Ian, thank you. Will, would you like to just introduce it and then we talk about any amendments?
Put this forward. About a year ago, we had a reset, at which time this council publicly committed to full compliance and openness, and delays in responding to complaints and missing Freedom of Information Act deadlines suggest we are failing in that commitment. This motion is not an attack, it is a necessary step to protect the council from further legal action that could arise if future complaints and Freedom of Information requests are not answered. The most recent Freedom of Information request that I know about did not receive any sort of reply within the 20-day time limit. And we need to understand the 20-day time limit, it's not a target, it's a law. Yes, delays can only be requested in limited circumstances, and requests for any delay must be made within the 20-day time limit, and none of that happened. Furthermore, I'm sure that at least one of the responses to the public notice published in December made a few Freedom of Information requests, and to my knowledge, none of these have been answered yet. The most recent complaint I know about was not answered in any way for about 4 months. The Council's published complaints policy is a public promise to the community that it will handle grievances in a specific way and within specific timeframes. And the legal rule, I believe, is that we must follow our own stated procedures unless there is a compelling reason to depart from them. Hence, when we fail to respond properly to a complaint, we are breaching a legitimate expectation, which is not something we should be doing. I'd like to propose a slight amendment to my proposed resolution. I would propose amending Resolution 2, which says to mandate the delivery of the compliance report at the next full council meeting, and I'd like to amend that to mandate the delivery of a compliance report at the next full council meeting and every meeting thereafter. And I would hope very quickly we get to the stage where it's simply a nil return. You know, there's no Freedom of Information requests, and there's no complaints. But as soon as there is one, we need to be doing it properly, don't we?
Definitely.
And this will make sure that we keep on top of them and we do it properly. In this way, we can ensure that we recover from the current situation and maintain compliance into the future. I propose this motion, and I trust that council members recognise the need for it and support it.
Good. So, your amendment to add a compliance report. Sorry, did you say to every meeting?
Correct, I think so.
Every meeting.
You could just change it to at all future meetings if you like.
Yeah.
All future meetings.
But I think the first one needs to deal with the backlog and give us some explanation as to what's happened.
Hold on a sec. So, just with regards to the amendment then, so we will change it to mandate the delivery of a compliance report to every meeting.
Yeah.
So,
future meetings.
all those in favour of that amendment? Yes. Thank you. Any other amendments?
Yes, Resolution 3 states that to direct the clerk to issue immediate holding responses to any affected parties, providing a firm date by which their matters will be resolved. I think that's a bit dangerous. We might not get the matter resolved by a date, but we can reply by a date. We may not get agreement with whoever is the complainant, but the matter is resolved by a date.
Fair.
I think this crosses over with our complaints policy. I was going to bring up about that point myself, so 2 points actually. So one is about issue immediate holding. We do have in the complaints policy that it should be within 5 working days. Given that our clerk is part-time, flexible hours, I would consider that an immediate holding response. I understand the idea, but I'm concerned that if a resident doesn't get, what does immediate mean? Is it within 10 minutes of an email, or is it a day?
So say within a week.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that?
Well, can we suggest that we stick with 5 days?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then to Ian's point, I picked up the same thing. The problem that I would have with that is that, and I think you've already alluded to it, that a response can be made, but that may not necessarily be accepted by the complainant. And as we know ourselves, complaints to the monitoring officer seem to take some time to come back, and there might be a bit of to and fro in. So I think, and I've looked at they caveat theirs so that they can do what they like. We don't have that in our complaints policy. If the complaint is straightforward, the clerk will investigate and respond within 20 working days. And I think that's a realistic given part-time.
Yeah.
But we do know that there are more convoluted complaints that will take longer. So,
And there is a procedure for dealing with more convoluted complaints there as well, but there's no time limit on it, which perhaps there should be.
well, the convoluted route is that yes, it would come to some sort of panel, either council or a panel to discuss.
Correct.
And you're right. It's. I don't know how we can put any finite date on a resolution, because I don't think it doesn't work like that. So we can either make an amendment that says that that we will reaffirm and comply with the complaints policy, or it's probably not something that I don't think is workable.
What if, because I've noticed that obviously you've got the old email address and something on there, would it be worth maybe just reviewing the complaint policy as part of this?
Well, we did actually. This was because it was just before we adopted this last June. We put several policies in place when we did the reset, because we had nothing, and this was working towards bringing us into line with what other parish councils do. We have a review date of June.
Yeah.
What we could do is we actually say we'll try and review everything that we've got in for May, so all the policies. I know that can be a bit of a big task. In fact, a lot of other parish councils I see stagger when they've got lots of policies. They will stagger them, won't
The
they?
ones we introduced in January, they won't need to be reviewed anyway in May.
Yeah.
We've only just agreed them.
Yeah.
So there won't be any changes to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah. So we can still look at the complaints policy review, say for May.
That'll be the next meeting as
But
well.
I just want to be sure that we are following our own complaints policy, because at the moment we haven't been.
Well, I'm sure we all do.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all do.
Yeah.
That's why we don't want them as things that are just there. They should be being followed.
Yeah.
So, well, Ian suggested the amendment. I mean, is it that we basically we want to?
Well, maybe the amendment should be just to get rid of point 3, because point 4 says to direct the clerk to ensure future freedom of information requests and complaints are dealt with in accordance with the law and our own adopted procedures.
Well,
and that just about follows it.
yeah. Well, rather than we just vote it down then. Yeah.
Amendment 3.
Yeah, Amendment 3. We
Okay.
just we don't vote for it. That's the easiest way, because we can't amend it completely in that way.
That's absolutely fine, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So you could just be voting on the 3 recommendations then.
yeah. So that's, I kind of have another amendment, but it can be part of the debate as well. So number 1, so it's to acknowledge the current backlog in administrative responses. The only thing we don't, you're asking on 2 for the compliance report, and the compliance report would really suggest what backlog there is. At the moment, I am unaware, apart from what you've said, I'm unaware of what is, what backlog there is. So I'd rather we,
I think you're right. That'll come into the compliance report, but I think it's worth these things being identified on their own.
so what do you mean?
Things that have come in and that we haven't actioned.
Well, won't that be in the compliance report? Because it'll list all those that are there that either have or haven't
Yeah.
on a monthly basis. So the first one is going to pick up the backlog.
Yes, as long as it does, I'm happy.
Yeah? Okay. All right, well, we won't amend that, but then we won't vote for it
Councillor
then.
Parrott's happy then. So
Is that okay?
Be on number, you have 2 resolutions then, number 2 and number 4.
Yes, yeah. Okay. So amendment
As long
sorted.
as the compliance report under number 2 covers the backlog,
Yes,
I'm content.
yeah,
It should cover all.
yeah.
Could the first one include resolved complaints, if there are any? So, complaint, you date it was resolved, so that we've got a history. So that will.
I can definitely do that going forward. I don't know about doing what's been done previously, but I can have a look and see what file Tracy might have been using.
Yeah. So just, it's going to that would then end up then as a complete compliance
Absolutely,
report rather than a
Okay,
from
that makes
today
sense.
compliance.
Yeah, okay, I can build that into
suggestion.
the report. Yeah.
And I still think within the report we need the point answered in my introduction, an explanation for any instances where statutory or policy deadlines have been exceeded, and that should come into the the compliance report.
Yeah, it doesn't want to just be a number, does it? Yeah. I think when we've dealt with, well, in my time, we dealt with freedom of information requests, and we've also put the report online, so that it's been transparent as to what has been replied to. I think that's quite important because it shows what the council is. So in the docs and downloads, it's shown there.
Yep.
So I don't see any reason why we can't do that to continue with our commitment to
If
transparency.
you like, you can put the report up after every meeting.
Yeah,
No, but that's right.
yeah,
It becomes a standard thing. As I said, hopefully it'll very quickly become a nil return.
yeah,
Unless you wanted to, not just outstanding ones, but any complaints or other requests, just have it as an ongoing thing for councils are aware.
I think it's useful because I don't think we've been particularly aware in the last year, have we?
No, I mean we've done that in the past with other things. Going back years, the work with Surrey County Council, we used to keep a record of all the issues that in the parish that Surrey County Council were dealing with, and that used to be just maintained on a regular basis, and it was always up on the website. Something similar would just be a compliance report on that can be looked at.
Mm,
Okay, that sounds good.
definitely, yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Well, no. Okay, if we move to vote, resolution number 1 then, to acknowledge the current backlog in administrative responses. All those in favour?
We decided
So we're going to leave everything out.
Yeah.
2 and before.
Okay, well I thought we needed a vote.
I think, as Councillor Parrott had raised the...
Oh, if you're happy
he
with
was
that.
happy to remove them, so...
Okay, so go to 2 then, so to mandate the delivery of the compliance report at every meeting. All those in favour? Thank you. 3 we're missing. Number 4, to direct the clerk to ensure future FOI requests and complaints are dealt with in accordance with the law and our own adopted procedures. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous? Okay. So moving on to number 15, which is the Statement of Explanation, Parish Council Precept 2026-27. To consider a motion regarding the publication of a Statement of Explanation in relation to the Parish Council Precept for 2026-27. Do we have a proposer? Will, and a seconder? Ian, thank you. Will, would you like to introduce it?
Yes, I mean, I just think an increase of over 250% in our precept is a pretty extraordinary financial event, which I believe needs more than just an arithmetical explanation. Surrey County Council, Guildford Borough Council would simply not be allowed to do this. And to some extent we're lucky we are able to, and hence we can recover from past mistakes. However, we can't be complacent, and I think we need to show some humility and acknowledge what has gone wrong and commit to improving in the future, such that we avoid having to do this in the future. In my view, the explanation needs to cover a few key areas. First of all, we seem to have run down our reserves over the last few years. From the numbers I've been able to find, I think at the beginning of the financial year 2021, I think we had about 73,000 of reserves. And I think at the beginning of financial year 26-27, 5 years later, we'll be lucky to have about 30,000. And so for various reasons, our reserves have run down over that time. I think there's also been a failure to forewarn our parishioners of how our costs have risen. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that we haven't done good budget versus actual comparisons throughout the year. Once again, the numbers are hard to find, but looking around on our website, the budget for the clerk costs in 24-25 was, I believe, £7,000. And Tracy did have a list of payments up there which go to the beginning of October. And so literally 6 months into the year, and looking at that and adding it all up, we'd already spent £11,000 on the clerk. So I dread to think what our clerk costs in total this year will have been. And it just shows a complete lack of control. And if we'd been able to show that, at least people would have been forewarned of it. There are reasons behind it, but we should have been able to forewarn people. Another key area is our failure to accrue for what I would call foreseeable costs. And we've got a forthcoming election, we've got play equipment needing repaired, we've got to pay for the neighbourhood plan, and we need to resolve the drainage issues on the Sands Rec. Well, all of those were foreseeable items, and we should have been sticking money away over the years to make sure it doesn't come as one huge whack and one huge hit, and they've all come together. And we should have been building reserves for those things, and the fact we haven't is once again a breach of our own financial regulations, and we should have been doing that. And finally, yes, I would say we've had a failure to apply good risk management, and such that the council is now potentially facing costs which in my view are completely avoidable. And those are the headings I would use. Yes, reserves, forewarned, foreseeable, avoidable. I think if we get everything right, hopefully we can start pushing it down a bit. We're never going to get back to the figure it was previously, but I don't think we want the accolade of being the most expensive parish in Waverley or Guildford for too long. That's my thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Will. We proposed this one, we did, didn't we?
Yes, yeah.
Would you like to say anything? Yeah. Or any amendments, sorry.
Yes, item resolution 4. an ongoing engagement, the Council will hold a 15-minute budget Q&A during the next scheduled public meeting. The next public meeting is in May, if I'm correct. We will be ready. Well, we can do that in May. The public meeting.
I think maybe I was getting too overexcited at that point, but do people want the right to ask questions and okay, good. In that case,
just my point on that, if we're talking about amendments, really would be, I probably haven't quite got an amendment for that, but it would be who would you expect to answer that? So say if we are able to, I'm sure there'll be some explanation tonight. There obviously will be the statement that will explain things more. I just wonder, are we going to have a Q&A session that who would answer that? Because I'm afraid it would fall to you to answer. So our clerk is our RFO, which is our responsible financial officer, and I'm afraid I haven't responded to you on certain things because it's not my remit to do, I'm afraid, and I don't want to. I can speak in public debate about this, but I'm not going to do things that really fall to our RFO to do. So I'm just thinking about, realistically, that would have to be Ryan most notably.
I'd only be taking it from whatever statement the council has come up with between themselves, because I wasn't here. I don't know what financial decisions the council's made in the past in that detail to answer residents. Many residents here are going to have a better understanding of the council's finances than I have historically. I'm not going to be able to add much more than what the council is saying in a statement.
Well, we don't mind who answers, the council answers. Which member it is, we don't mind.
I'm prepared to have a go and back things back as much as I know, but I think everyone will have to accept we can't necessarily answer everything.
If you put out a statement, what else is going to be not included in that residents might have a question about?
I just think that given the size of the rise, we should give people the opportunity to ask questions. Whether or not we can wholly answer them is another matter.
Well, if you're happy on the basis then that, I have my own opinions on how we've arrived at this precept. If you're happy that during the meeting on any Q&A that we may all have different opinions to supply to the public. What I'm getting at is I don't want to cause any more anguish over.
I think we should try and come up with a statement that, if you like, a statement of explanation that we can all agree with,
that's what you
and
put
that we're all behind, because we should be seeing a united front. And I don't really want to be in a meeting where someone asks a question and I say X and someone else says Y in response, because I don't think that's helpful at all.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Exactly. I don't want to be in that situation where we're disagreeing.
Think if we get our heads together and draft a statement and come up with a statement we're all happy with, that would hopefully prevent that.
Yeah.
Then what else would be added then?
I think people just might want some clarification. And whether or not we can give them the clarification they want, but it's a huge amount of money we dinged people with, and I think people perhaps should have the right to ask us questions about it.
Quite right.
Thank you.
At the very least, we expect to prepare a statement in advance of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's what we're discussing right now.
I think that would be supported.
So, are you suggesting that we keep that as it is then, that you have a Q&A session, or we leave it as the statement that is a fully fleshed out statement?
Well, I was saying I was prepared to drop it, but I think people would seem to quite like the idea of it. And whether or not we can answer everything, we can do our best, can't we?
Can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
At risk of just being secretive again. So not being the inability to answer questions.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we've ever been secretive about funding or what we're spending the money on.
It's possible to be.
Okay. I just, with your resolution number 1, I mean, we've got to make, this means we've all got to approve it before it comes to a meeting. So just pointing that out. Our standing orders for voting is always about majority.
Yeah. And does it have to come back to another meeting to be approved? Can we not approve it between ourselves?
No, it'd have to be approved at the meeting. But we could approve it at the meeting and then
It's the next
run
meeting.
with it the same
Our next
meeting.
meeting is now not until May.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that deserves a bit of... we managed to put out the arithmetical statement, so why on earth can't we do this?
Well, I guess as long as it remains factual. I'm sure Ryan can do anything that is factually based, and then this all should be. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
I think we need more than...
fairly long to get an
We
agreement.
need a
for.
proper explanation, and I think that can still be pretty factual. But I think people deserve to hear sooner rather than later. And if we leave it to be agreed at our next meeting in May, people will already have paid the first couple of months.
It's probably only best going to work if, like, say, someone's going to have to draw up an initial statement themselves, and then other people are going to have to comment on that, because otherwise it's never going to work.
I'm happy to
Or councillors can all draw up individual statements, and I can try and put something together that way. So
we might end up with some monster.
there we go.
Well, yeah. Okay, well, we'll do that then. I think
I'm happy to do an initial draft. If we can't finally agree something, then yes, it has to come to the meeting, doesn't it?
well, yeah. I'll be doing an initial draft as well, and make sure that we get it all in there. I mean, with respect, you've been on the council for a few months, so I think Ian has even more history with me about how grants have worked in the past, and how we've basically lost all of them that we got as almost a standard measure. There are still grants out there, I'll give you.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to say anything, Ian?
No, I don't think I've got anything to add, really. I think we've covered... I think we do need to put a statement out. I don't disagree, but how we achieve that statement, I don't know the best way of doing that. I think the starter for comment is maybe the best. The Q&A does worry me. If we put a statement out, we don't know any more than that. I mean, we could be just diving into detail that we just don't have or can't produce.
Will, anything?
Yes, I mean, it is worrying, but I think perhaps we need to face the music, and if we can't answer a question, we can't answer it. And just endeavour to do better in the future, and make sure,
Better in what regard?
well, just better control, better budget versus actual, better idea of our reserves, better idea of where we were. I mean, when we were setting the budget in January, yes, we were setting that budget, and we had no idea that there's a big VAT recovery due. It wasn't on the sheet. Yeah, and
No, all those figures were X'd out.
But none of this is going to change the precept.
All those figures
Well,
were all those figures were X'd out.
what problem?
All of the figures were X'd out.
Yeah, that's fine, but there was nothing in the budgeted figures we had when we were setting the budget that showed that there was an amount of VAT recoverable. Yeah, and it's based on prior years, it's about £3,000-4,000. And if we'd known that, we could perhaps have knocked the precept back a bit. Because it's income we didn't, it's cash that's going to come in that we hadn't accounted for.
Yeah, but it's cash that we've paid out. We're only reclaiming back what we've paid out. So if you take it as a net,
We're not X'd out. We pay that and then we just reclaim it. So we cost.
When we get the cash back, it goes back into your cash balance, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I still think it would have been useful to know that it was due back.
Useful, yes. It wouldn't have, I don't think it would have changed the figures much.
But a bit.
No, the accounts would essentially be the same, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If I just, so speaking as a member, yeah, you say about lack of control. It depends where you, I think that's quite a heavy statement because it does depend quite where you were meaning we have a lack of control. I'd consider that we've got pretty good control. It is not as good as it could be.
The fact that we've got no, when we were setting the budget, we had no budget for this current year and no actuals, year to date. I think that's very bad. I've
said it before and I'll say it again. We have had a difficult year. We've had a clerk resign at the beginning of last year. That meant we tried to get a new permanent clerk at the time and we couldn't, hence why we went to a locum clerk. And as you quite rightly pointed out, the locum clerk cost us a lot of money. As soon as we could, and with the staffing committee, we did our best to resolve that situation as quick as we could. But obviously Ryan did not start until December. With the best will in the world, if you look at Ryan's, the clerk's hours, 10 hours a week, so since December up to date, that means he's basically worked 3.5 weeks for the council.
Yeah.
And I think we have had a lot of work to do with Wood Lane, I'm sure.
Yep.
Obviously none of us sit on Ryan's shoulder looking at what he's doing, but I'm sure he's had a hell of a lot of work to do. I'm not making excuses, but I think there are considerations to be taken into account.
That's potentially all part of the explanation.
Yeah. And it comes back to, if I'm suggesting that if at our January meeting when Ryan said he will pull all these financials together starting from April, I'm afraid I'm going to be holding you to that. I'm sure everyone will be.
It's a much easier way of working.
Yeah, yeah. So Ryan is experienced with this, and but he's got to have the time to put that into place. I would just bring up foreseeable. So obviously this is something that we can put together in the report. But I think actually we've only, you could say that the playground equipment was kind of foreseeable, and that the drainage, which I've been trying to get done at Seale now for probably, minimum for 2 years, if not 3 years, was foreseeable. But for various reasons, it's not happening. And admittedly, we've probably lost out on some funding that we used to get from Guildford, or 50-50 funding. That's gone. So you could say that's kind of foreseeable. But I would say that the reserves that we had, I'd say just briefly, I think you mentioned for 22, you said we had, no, for 21, you said we had about 70,000 odd. The balance at March 21 was 63,000 in the reserves. And that has been drawn down.
I'm taking my figures off the AGAR on the website. So.
Yeah, well, I just checked the bank at the end of March for those figures. I mean, we can firm up. I'm not saying these are exact, but the reserves, because we had such high reserves and they were being commented on by the auditor, we had to get those reserves down. So our precept was at 25,000 and 25,500 last year. So in reality, we would be expected to hold 1 year's precept.
Yeah, not even that.
Yeah. So
I think 9 to 12 months, but you're also allowed to hold reserves for specific purposes in addition to the 9 to 12 months. And we should have had a reserve for playground equipment. We should have a reserve for elections, because there are things that.
No, elections were previously paid for by the borough council.
Okay, but when did we find out that we'd have to pay for them?
Well, I think, was it last year?
Okay, no, that's reasonable.
So that was, so the election costs have been unforeseeable.
Yeah.
But Ryan put in a 50% amount because the election is in 2027.
Yeah.
So we have put in an accrual for.
Could we have not done anything in the prior year, or did we not know about it then?
Well, if we don't know about it, remember we're setting the budget. We were late with setting the budget. Normally it is set around October, November time. But if you remember, we were at the time when we had a locum clerk, and with the best will in the world, it's made, you know. I'm afraid, yes, the locum clerk should be doing all of those things. And in fact, I do remember Tracy put together a document before she left, but it wasn't obviously fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
So.
But it's all, this is all good stuff, and can all be used in our explanation, can't it?
I know, well, but I think we have quite a few members of the public here right now, and I think, like we're saying, if it's going to be some weeks before we get a statement out, I'd like to say from now is that the neighbourhood plan. So we've had Ian knows more about this than I do, but we've had funding in the past. We've probably had £20,000 or more.
Yeah, I think there's a maximum of 25, I think, available to produce a neighbourhood plan, funding available.
Yeah.
There was a maximum of 25,000. We've had something like, I think, I honestly can't remember the number, 10, 15, maybe 20,000. But that funding has now been withdrawn from central government. So there is no longer any funding available, grant funding available from government for neighbourhood plans.
Yeah.
So all costs going forward would have to be borne by the parish. So that's not only the production of the document and the completion of the document, and any consultancy that we get will have to pay for as well.
Mm.
So that was not foreseen. It was only withdrawn in May, June this year. Last year,
yeah. So it couldn't have gone.
So I agree. Yeah, that's it's all good information. That makes it less foreseeable.
Well,
we didn't crack our neighbourhood plan when all the grant funding was there.
Yeah, but it was maxed out. But that's easy to say, isn't it? Well, easy to say.
You know how many hours we put in.
Yeah.
And it still needs hours put in.
Yeah. So
there's 6 big documents. I've spent many hours on this.
Yeah, well, I think we all have to some extent, haven't we? But Ian probably more than anyone.
But
so
it's all good explanation that we need to give to people.
We're giving it.
Yeah.
So
you can write it as well.
Wood Lane, we were going to put in just what the solicitors' costs were going to be for the disposal, and it was suggested that was raised to £2,100. Because that was what was in the options appraisal document, which doesn't really bear any resemblance to what the resolution was. But that seemed to be why the uplift of 2,100 was put in to cover those costs. So unforeseen, because that only came about on the agenda last year. The legal fees, so the £20,000 legal fees, obviously you proposed that at the budget meeting. Actually, at the budget meeting in January, that obviously came as a shock to all of us. So that was unforeseen. So I'd suggest that you could say we've got around don't hold me to these figures, but around £32,000 of the uplift is unforeseen costs.
I think some of that is avoided.
Yeah, but that's...
What's avoidable?
Some of the Wood Lane costs.
How?
Well, if you'd answered Lynn's complaint, more promptly. I have no desire to be taking action. Yeah. So if you'd answered the complaint more promptly, I wouldn't have had to. But I don't really want to discuss that.
No, I don't think we should.
No.
I mean, complaints are handled by the clerk, not councillors, remember. I'd like to point that out.
Yeah.
So each 10,000, so I've worked out just roughly, each £10,000 of the difference between last year's precept and this year's precept is about 40% of that 259% uplift, each £10,000. In reality, the uplift is about £65,000, isn't it? So from 25 up to 90 odd, 65,000, 20,000 obviously is a big chunk on the legal fees, but we do have drainage at 10, neighbourhood plan at 10, playground at 5. I appreciate, I'm having to pay it along with everybody else, but these are costs that are associated with running the parish.
Well, I think another point to bring out in your explanation, and I can remember sitting there and hearing you say it, is increasingly the County Council and the Guildford Borough Council are just pushing costs down to something.
Well, yeah.
And like, no longer grant funding available for the neighbourhood, plan, etc., etc. And we're ending up bearing more and more of the costs, aren't we? And
We
that
are.
could be part of the explanation.
Well, talking about funding, so that there still is funding available. So if we look at the drainage and playground in particular, I'd say that there's quite possibly funding that we can get for that. The difference that we had before was that with Guildford we would get a 50-50 grant. We could just put in what we wanted to put in for capital projects the year prior, wasn't it? Or within a certain time limit?
Within the time limit, yeah.
Yeah. And we knew then that we would get a 50% grant for that. What we've got now is a situation where we can apply for a grant on an ad hoc basis. So it's quite possible that the money that we've put in the budget for those items, that we can achieve a grant, and we may be able to achieve grants that are more than 50%.
Yeah.
But we will have to do it on a project basis, I believe. So it doesn't mean that the money that we're asking everybody, all residents, to put into the pot now, it will not get wasted. It will not get washed away somewhere. What it might mean is that we can really reduce the precept next year. We've had a perfect storm of events over this last year that have meant we've had this incredible rise. And from my point of view, I'm happy to say why we've had to make these why this uplift has happened, and hopefully some of this explanation tonight goes to that. But we can, like I say, we can agree that all on the statement. So I think reserves does play an important part.
Well, to the extent we get some of the grants, we can start building up our reserves, can't we?
Well, exactly. I was just going to say about the reserves.
The reserves, we had to dip into that last year to pay clerk costs because of the additional cost of a locum clerk.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid
Which was not foreseen.
I'm afraid to say, rough calculations, our locum clerk cost us £13,600 for 7 months. Now that was unforeseen, and we were doing our best to reduce the time that we had a locum clerk. It was much different before Leslie, when we had Leslie rather, but obviously Ryan now being qualified makes a change as well, but it's certainly not on the same basis of locum clerk costs. So reserve-wise, just as your point, the reserve as of today or so is still more than our last year's precept, isn't it?
Yes.
So we still have reserves that could be considered where they should be as of our precept last year.
But we have no specific reserves, and you're quite entitled to have specific reserves as well. And we should probably have
We
some
are.
of those.
We are. And I think I did mention to you in January that I've always suggested about environments. Ian's suggested about is essentially the same thing. It's about having earmarked reserves that are specifically for playground equipment. It's just something that I'm afraid has not happened, despite maybe we need to bring a motion for it to make it happen, because I see that's the only way. You know, in the past we relied on good faith of asking for these things to be done, and they don't get done, and it's us who are sitting here with egg on our face because we're unable to
and that's why
say to everyone.
I was quite happy to support the increased precept. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't needed.
You didn't support it, Will.
You didn't vote in favour of it.
I think I abstained.
No.
You abstained, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I could see the need for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you should have voted for it then. You know.
Well, no, because I didn't have enough data in front of me. There
Yeah,
wasn't
but-
enough explanation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to explain that for everybody here that the uplift is a big uplift. Is it where a parish now a parish precept needs to be? Probably not. I think going forwards, I can see our rolling total precept will be higher than it ever has been because everything has gone up. As you said, we're being put more on for doing particular duties, and that's only going to happen more.
I'd agree, but we need to give people hope that we're not going to have another rise such as we had last time, and that we're going to keep everything up, keep things under proper control, and that's all part of the explanation, isn't it?
It is, but as I say, I think it depends on your terminology of under control.
Yeah.
I don't believe we've been out of control. We've had extenuating issues that have resulted in the uplift.
You could have better forewarned people, I think. Yes. I mean, no one here knew the extent of the extra clerk costs. Yeah.
Well, I think they did. They were told every month, and it was published every month what her costs were. And we didn't specifically say the clerk cost has gone from
but you
figure X to
you
figure
have
3 times X. Or whatever it
I think,
is.
that's what we should be having, a budget versus year to date, shouldn't we? And then we'll see.
Yes, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but
That's what I'm asking.
we weren't. It wasn't invisible.
No, I don't. Well, none of that was hidden in the figures. I'm afraid we dealt. I think the council dealt with the situation that was put before us.
I'm not saying you didn't, but I still think we owe our parishioners an explanation. If you don't think we do, that's fine.
No, but you did say we had a lack of control, that none of the uplift was foreseeable.
I didn't say none of it was foreseeable. I said quite a lot of it. I said some of it was foreseeable.
Well, you mentioned all of those items that I suggested, and I would suggest that they're not all that they
said
weren't.
some of them are.
No, yeah, I said drainage and playground that were potentially,
Yeah. So I haven't been here that long, so I don't know everything. Yes, I don't pretend to know everything.
but it's one of those things that you suggested.
There were some of them that were foreseeable, wasn't it? I'm quite happy to be proved wrong on some of them.
Yeah.
But some of them were foreseeable.
No, they were foreseeable, but the point is about the reserves.
Yeah.
So we had reserves there that, you're right, if we had environments that had earmarked reserves in for drainage works and playground repairs, then the reserves that we had would I'm sure have covered the accruals for those items. We still had high reserves. We now have reserves that match where we probably should be.
Not in total, I don't think. You can hold reserves of 9 to 12 months of your annual costs, plus you can also hold reserves for specific items. You can have specific reserves as well.
Yeah, which we did, but as I said, one big cost was the locum clerk costs. So that had quite an impact.
Well, all I'm saying is our reserves are now at a much lower level than they were before, and we're quite exposed to a sudden shock.
And then surely you want to try and build them back up again.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
We're saying the same
But
thing.
that's why we've got the reserves there, so that when we do have to deal with things like that,
Yeah.
that we've got the money in the reserves to do it. No, I'm with you.
Good.
And hence why I said that if the 20k that you suggested for the legal fees is not legal, I said it needs to be, it will be a reserve item. The other things, the drainage and the playground money, if we get grants for it, but we can stick it into earmarked reserves exactly for for future expenditure on those items. I think we have quite a bit of background on this, but I think it gives us a start for a statement, and hopefully members of the public have been able to understand that the money isn't out of control. I'd like to think it
doesn't
is.
sound as if in control. Sorry about that. It doesn't sound as though it's in control. It needs to be tightened.
Okay.
We can't keep forking out for mistakes that are made.
I think if you come back when we have our question and answer session, then maybe we can you can ask that question again.
Excuse me, because I can't stay in. Good luck.
Well, I think I've said my bit and where I feel we're at with it. Okay, do you want to say anything else before we look at the resolutions on that one? No. So you've asked for a resolution to draft a public statement as we've suggested. And this statement is to be approved by all councillors before it's finalised, so that all councillors feel able to support it. So all those in favour of that resolution? Okay, thank you. 2 is the outline future safeguards. The statement will include a commitment to improvement section detailing new internal controls such as enhanced quarterly financial reviews, rigorous budgeting which accrues for foreseeable costs, rigorous actual versus budget analysis on an ongoing basis, a commitment to minimise costs wherever possible, a commitment to good risk management. So I think we need to flesh out what they really mean in the statement as we work that one out.
And like I say, by that point, hopefully the new things that we bring in the new financial year will cover that anyway.
Yeah.
So, good. Yeah.
Okay. So all those in favour of resolution 2? Anything else? Thank you. Resolution 3 is publication. The final text will be pinned to the homepage of the council website and published in the Village News. Fine. I suggest it's a news section and then docs and downloads as a repository for the item. All those in favour of item 3? Thank you. And then, as we said, number 4, ongoing engagement. The council will hold a 50-minute budget Q&A during the next scheduled public meeting, council meeting, to address specific resident concerns. All those in favour of that motion? Thank you. Okay. Item 16 is flood forum representation. So this is to confirm the appointment of Councillor de Walden as a Seale Sands Parish Council's representative on the flood forum. Since Councillor de Walden is not here, I'll propose it. Do I have a seconder? Well, it's a seconder. Anyone like to say anything on this item?
Do we know what the flood forum is about and what its composition is?
No, I asked for some more information, but I think he has suggested that he would attend the forum, but I don't have any more information about
I
it.
think Simon could give you a very brief.
Okay, Simon.
Not allowed to talk.
I'll give you, I'll hand it to you to speak, yes.
Brief. It's. Thank you. That's rich coming from you. The confusion is it's not the Flood Forum, it's the Silt Forum. So I wasn't aware of what the name of it was, but it is the Silt Forum. So that was basically following up from my question to the meeting last time.
How do you spell that, sorry?
Silt, as in S-I-L-T.
Okay, just like that.
Yeah.
Silt.
All right, okay. And who is involved with that?
So it is the main sort of commercial entities, namely Hull Hunter, Farm Golf Club, Chambers, and then affected residents. And then I think they are trying to get the Borough Council involved as well, and Surrey are also taking an interest.
Okay. On that basis, I think we need to amend the name.
Not the Environment Agency.
I think shout-outs have gone out to them as well, but you know.
So it's not constituted yet as a forum.
No, it's informal. It's you know that's the name of the group. It's not anything which you know is minuted, etc. I think my shout out last time, which clearly sort of was not on the agenda, was the fact that the parish was facing really serious issues, and just in the same way that we've been talking about the fact that in some cases you cannot affect what is going on, you can, as a parish council, be aware, and again, signpost, etc. So I was just saying, you know, my plea on this one is the fact that there are a group of people and companies who are meeting, and it's in your manner, and for that reason, I think you guys and ladies should be aware and input where you can.
Okay, all right.
Is there a
Thank
date
you,
of the next meeting?
No, I'll come back to you.
That's great.
Okay. Well, I presume Councillor de Walden has put his name forward for this,
yes.
So we'll amend it to the Silt Forum representation. So all those in favour of agreeing that Councillor Walden becomes representation, thank you. Good. Okay, item 17, so we've come to the end of the meeting. So thank you all for coming and staying until the end. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.